people, welcome back, and today we're going to break down how I made this bouncy trap beat, so let's get straight into it. When I first started making this trap beat, I was going through some of my old sounds that I had made, and I found this phrase, and when I heard this phrase it inspired me. This is what it sounded like. And then I added some effects to it, and the first effect that I added was a sound shifter, and I had pitched it up by 12 semitones. Then I added an EQ, and as you can see I low cut it by 195 Hz, so I'm taking out all the lows, making space for my kick drum and my bass. Then I added a kickstart. Now as you can see my mix is on 18%. Now I've added this kickstart just to add some rhythm to this phrase. After that I added some reverb. Now I added this reverb just to add some ambience and some atmosphere to the phrase. And then lastly I added another EQ. Now as you can see right here I've boosted it. Now the reason why I boosted it was because I felt like the phrase needed a bit more presence in the higher mids. Now this is what it sounds like with all the effects on it now. Once I was happy with that, I added a Duke phrase from the Ethnic Winds Complete Bundle by Ayla Efimov, and this is it right here, and this is what it sounds like. Now the first effect that I added was a sound shifter, and also with this sound shifter I pitched it up 12 semitones. Next I added some Valhalla Ubermod. Now I added this Valhalla Ubermod just to add a bit of texture and a bit of chorus. My mix is only on 18%. Then I added an EQ, and as you can see I've taken everything off below 458 Hz. Then I've taken out some of the lower mids in the area of 535 Hz. just to help clear up some of that muddiness. Then I added a portal, and with this portal I chose this preset right here, Harmonic Tracer, which I got from the vocals library. Next I added some multi-band EQ compression, and it's this one right here called F6 RTA, which is from Waves. Now I added this because I wanted to help control the dynamics around the area of 1K, so me using this has helped balance the dynamics of that particular frequency and to help control it even more. So now I'm going to play with the multi-band compression off. Now I'll turn it on, and then watch this area around here. You hear how it just controls that area around 1K a bit more, it's just a bit more smoother. That's exactly why I added this multi-band compression, and this is what they both sound like together now. And then I added an accent which I got from the sound kit Nuclear Volume 1. The link for all the kits that I'll be using in this tutorial will be in the description box below, and this is what this accent sounds like. Now with that accent I only wanted pieces of it, so I went ahead and chopped it up and rearranged it. Now as you can see here, this is how I've chopped it up and rearranged it, and this is what it sounds like now. Then I added some effects to it, and the first effect that I added was an EQ, and I low cut it by 252 Hz, once again making space for my basses and my kick drum. Next I added a compressor, and this is the R compressor from Waves, and the reason for me using this compressor is to help control the dynamics so I can get a more balanced level of volume in the sound. Then I added some H delay. Now I set up this H delay on a bus channel, and it's this one right here, and I've also panned it to the left by -30, and this is what it sounds like all together so far. Then I added another phrase which I also made myself, and I used it in the quick sampler, and this is what it sounds like. Now with this phrase, I pull it in slice mode in the quick sampler just by clicking this option right here, slice, and all these different markers are the slices that I put in by myself, and this is the slice that I chose, and this is what it sounds like. Now the first effect that I added to that was a sound shifter. Now I've gone down -5 semitones to pull it back into key of my song. I'm currently working in the key of C sharp minor. Next I added some halftime and my mix is only on 26%. Then I added some kickstart. Now I added this kickstart just to add a bit more rhythm and a bit more bounce to this particular phrase, and my mix is on 74%. After that I added a portal and I used this preset right here called Sizzle, and it's from this library right here, stretch and smear. And then lastly I added an EQ and I took off everything below 400 Hz, and then I gave it a little boost around 1k just to help give it some more presence within the mix. And this is what everything sounds like all together now. And then next I added a bell, which I got from the Nuclear Volume 1 sound kit, and this is the bell right here, and this is what it sounds like. I added some EQ and I low cut it by 218 Hz. Next I added some H delay and my timing is on half, my feedback is on 42% and my dry and wet is on 15%, and this is what it sounds like now with the effects on it. And then to finish off this sample I added a violin phrase which I got from the Nuclear Volume 1 sound kit, and this is what it sounds like. Now what I done with that phrase was I just took parts of it and I chopped it up, and this is how I've rearranged it. Then I added some effects to it, and the first effect that I added was some Valhalla Ubermod, and I've only added this Valhalla Ubermod just to add a bit of chorus and a bit of texture. Next I added some channel EQ, and as you can see I took out everything below 458 Hz, and then I gave it a slight boost around 7k and 2k just to help give the violin some more presence. Next I added some portal, and the preset I chose was this one right here called Harmonic Tracer, and I got this from the vocals library. Now this is what the violins sound like now. Now this is what everything sounds like together now. Once I was happy with that sample, I went and got some Perc loops. Now I got these Perc loops from the Perc Loops Volume 3 sound kit. This is what this first Perc loop sounds like. And the only effect I added to that was an EQ, and as you can see I took out everything below 1k. Then I added another Perc loop from the same kit, and this is what it sounds like. And then the only effect I added to that was an EQ, and as you can see with this EQ I've taken some of the highs off and some of the lows just to help shape the Perc loop. Then I added a drum fill. Now I got this drum fill from the sound kit Redemption's drum fills kit, and this is what it sounds like, and it's heavily EQ'd. I've taken everything out below 12k, and then I've added some H delay. My timing is on half, my feedback is on 60%, and my dry and wet is on 22%. Now this is what everything sounds like together so far with the Perc loops. Once I was happy with that sample, I went and got myself an 808. Now I got this 808 from the ATL Culture kit, and it's this one right here, -1 octave, and this is what it sounds like. Then I added some effects, and the first effect that I added was some distortion. Now this is my favourite distortion, is FabFilter Saturn, especially when it comes to 808s, because not only has it got distortion, it's got an EQ, so now you can EQ the bands as well as adding distortion and gives your basses more unique tones. Next I added an EQ. Now with this EQ you can see I took off everything below 41 Hz. Now the reason why I've done this was to help control the sub part of the 808 because I felt it was just a bit too powerful coming through the speakers, so I've just helped it just to shape it and just tone it a bit more. Now this is what it sounds like all together so far. After that I went and got myself a synth bass which I used for the intro, and I got it from a plugin called Signature R&B, and this is the plugin right here, and this is the name of the bass that I used. So once I was finished with everything, I went ahead and started to program in some drums. Now all my drum sounds are from the ATL Culture Kit and some are from Splice. Now the first drum sound that I started with was a clap, and this is what it sounds like. Then I added another clap just to help back up the first one, and this is what it sounds like. Next I added some hi-hats, and this is what the hi-hats sound like. Now as you can see with my hi-hats, I've utilised the velocity just to help give the hi-hats a human feel and a unique bounce. Then I added a second hi-hat, and this is what it sounds like. And with this hi-hat I've panned it to the left by -35. After the hi-hats I added some shakers. Now I panned these shakers to the right by +35, and this is what the shakers sound like. And then lastly, to finish off the drums, I added a kick drum, and then I added some effects to that kick drum, and the first effect that I added was a transient designer, and this is the one that I use by plugin Alliance. Now a transient designer, what it does, it helps enhance the attacking part of any sound. So I've used this transient designer to enhance that first initial attack of the kick, just help it to give it some more punch and cut through the mix some more. And I've done that by increasing this attack knob right here to +3. Next I've added an EQ, and I've taken everything below 54 Hz just to help save space for my 808s and my bass. Then I added one more EQ, and I've put the low frequency on 100, and I've boosted it by almost 3 dBs. Now I've done this just to help give the kick some more body and some more punch. Now this is what the kick sounds like now with the effects on it. So now as you can see, I've already gone ahead and arranged the beat. It's nothing too complicated, it's just that every 16 bar there's a switch up. So now let's go ahead and have a listen to it. that's the end of the tutorial, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and more importantly I hope that you've learned something. So like, share and subscribe, and if there's anything that you want me to work on in up and coming tutorials, just let me know in the comments below. Until next time, peace out.